Alright guys, working on installing the P1000 style headlights in the Honda Rubicon with the stock craft lights that are fish tanks. So one thing I noticed, this is another video too, these little, they look like a little screen on there. They're actually kind of airtight. You can just peel them off with your fingernail though, and that's not a very reliable seal. So I have pressure tested these a little bit. This back connector where the wires go in, back grommet thing, does seem pretty sealed. But just to be sure, I'm going to pack it all full of clear silicone. And also I got these little universal plugs. There's the number if you're curious. So if you put a nice bead of silicone here and a little bit of silicone on the inside of there, that'll snap in there. It'll give you a nice watertight seal that's not going to get caught on anything and peeled off. Silicone is actually a pretty good adhesive. It's all about prep work. So I'm going to clean these up real good with some carb cleaner and actually scratch them up a little bit with some sandpaper to make sure they're nice and clean. There's no residue. And clear silicone bonds pretty good to plastic, so I think that'll be a nice tight waterproof seal. And then of course I'm going to pump a bunch in here and seal that all up. I'm going to let it sit overnight before I install them to give it the most time to cure. These are not the OEM Honda ones, these are like the $200 eBay ones. So the OEM Honda ones I suspect don't have this issue, but I don't really know. Haven't installed those yet. Made a little bit of a mess of it. I probably should have put more under the cap, so to make up for that I smeared some around the top of it just to kind of pack it in the groove just in case. Those plugs snap in there and fit pretty tight, but just out of paranoia. And then you can see where I pumped a bunch of silicone into both sides of the wires there. So it should be a done deal. So if you don't want to make it look nasty like that, just put a little bit of extra on the inside of that cap that when you press it down there, it squirts all the way out the sides evenly, then you don't have to touch it. But it didn't squirt all the way out the side on one spot on a couple of these, so I just put some extra and smeared it around. But let that cure overnight, and then I'll do the install. The stock headlight, you take out the headlight and the mount all together. It's very easy. There are 4 Phillips bolts, 1, 2, 3, 4 right there, and 1 10mm bolt. The 10mm goes into that bracket you see there, and the 4 Phillips go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once you get that out, you can, before you take that out, you pop off the cover, that big circular cover, unplug your connector, take out the 4 Phillips and the 110, you got your whole light out. And now you can work on it outside the bike. You have to modify this to fit the headlight because this doesn't have a heat sink. This is a shitty headlight. As you can see, this headlight is full of water, which is why we're replacing it. It leaks like crazy. Honda did not do a good job sealing up these headlights. If you bought a 2016, 17, 18, 19, 20 Rubicon, before you go in any water, you can open it up and put some silicone all around there and it won't leak, but you can see where it's leaking from. It's pretty obvious. So that could have been fixed, but it wasn't, so now we're gonna upgrade them. All right, so the headlight's in there and it has full adjustability. All I have left to do is install the adjuster. You do have to cut in 2 spots where it'll rub, and if you don't cut both these spots, the headlight might pop out and it won't give you full adjustability. So you have to cut a hole there because the corner of the new light was rubbing on the plastic, so I just drilled a big hole with that. It's quite easy. There's a spot, you just push it right through. And then back here, you do cut out a big piece. I started with a hole saw and then finished it up with a razor blade. It's a lot of guess and check, right? Like cut a little bit, see if it clears, cut a little bit more. Took about 5 minutes. Some people say to heat it up. I don't recommend that because you're gonna end up warping this whole thing because it's not close enough to just heat up. That whole area would have to have come out. So I don't think you were gonna be able to heat that up very easily. So this was a lot faster and a lot easier. And now I just have to put the connector together and install the adjuster, which is just the spring, nut, and washer, and it's ready to go. The wiring figured out, took a little bit of trial and error because the colors do not match, but there's how you do it. Yeah, you can pretty much look at it and figure it out, but also test yours out before you put the connector together. But you can see the colors. White goes to the green, yellow goes to the blue, and the black in the center goes to, which I think is a white, yeah. So again, yellow to blue, black to white, green to white, because that makes sense. But anyways, yeah, that's how you wire them up. And they're all done. You have to do a little more cutting on this side than the other side. The right side, for some reason, requires a little more cutting, but nothing you can't do with a decent razor blade really quickly. This one's all in and it came out great. This should be common sense, but someone will screw it up. So when you're putting the wires in the connectors, make sure you hold the connector in such a way where this latch will go over this catch. That way you don't wire them backwards. And when you put the wires in, they are rectangular. The open part of the rectangle, see what I mean? See the rectangle? The open part goes towards the catch. If you don't do that, they won't go in very easily. If you do it right, they slide right in and pop in very easily. Let's see. If I can do it with one hand, you can. Okay, so pretty easy. Done, make sure you put the white piece on the back. That's what holds the wires in. Otherwise, when you go to plug it in, they'll just get pushed out of the back. And then look in the front and make sure they're all in the same depth, and then you're good to go. All right, so headlights are done. Look really good. Pretty easy install. I wouldn't be scared to do it. All you need is a Phillips screwdriver, a 10mm socket, and a and a razor blade. So don't be scared to do it. Really easy. These are like $200 on eBay and Amazon. These are the Chinese aftermarket lights. You just require some trimming back here to make room. Can't even see where you trimmed really. It doesn't look bad at all from the outside. You can see the one spot right there, but if you do it tastefully, it doesn't look bad at all. This side does require a little more trimming. I'll show you that. It's just some trial and error. You want it to fit freely. So you can see where I trimmed a bigger hole on this side. But no one's ever gonna notice it, and it looks clean. It actually fills the hole. There's no black plate in there, anything stupid, and there's no cubes or strips or bars. And it looks just like the P1000 because it's a knockoff light from the P1000. If you wanna do it really right, just get lights from Honda, spend the big bucks. I think they're like, I don't know, $200 a piece. But I've had good reviews on these, and they say they're pretty bright, and hopefully they'll be 100% waterproof.